Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is a concluding chapter to the Mission Impossible film series that's directed by Christopher McQuarrie and starring Tom Cruise. Ethan Hunt and the IMF team continue their search for the terrifying AI known as the Entity, which has infiltrated intelligence networks all over the globe. I have been a big fan of the Mission Impossible series for a long time. I especially think the later half of the series include some of the best action films of all time. You're talking Ghost Protocol, you're talking Fallout, you're talking Dead Reckoning Part 1, you're talking Rogue Nation. Just absolute bangers of movies that I thought were some of the best action films up there respected years, with my favorites still being Fallout personally, and to a lot of people it is their favorite. It is like peak Mission Impossible Tom Cruise action film that you just cannot top. And it seems as though we're going to get a truly great finale here with the same team coming back after part 1 of Dead Reckoning. So how does this film fare? In my opinion, it still fared pretty great, but out of all the Christopher McQuarrie films that he's directed in this series, I think this is my least favorite, unfortunately. But saying that's my least favorite is saying that Two Towers is like my least favorite Lord of the Rings film. It is still great, it is still fantastic, you know, but there are some stuff in here that do kind of bother me. But I'm not saying like Mission Impossible is like as great as Lord of the Rings. All the movies are just A+, A+, A+ to me. I'm just saying that in terms of personal feelings, I just feel like this is my least favorite of this era of Mission Impossible, you know? So why I feel like this is because this movie in the first act has so much exposition trying to tie in all the films together, where I felt like it did a good enough job, but it did feel like there was so much more telling instead of showing. It wasn't until we got to a certain character moment with this film that is very personal to the character of Ethan Hunt, and where it kicks off the emotional weight of the story now, where I felt like the movie was able to find its stride. But everything before that, it just felt like the movie was doing a lot of exposition, and it wasn't really interesting. There are interesting moments in that first act that I really enjoyed, especially with the Entity becoming more of a not physical threat, but more of a physical threat in terms of what it's able to accomplish and how it's able to have a bit more of a personality to it, which makes it even more intimidating than it was in the previous film. Aside from all that stuff and the stakes of the film, again, tying into all these other movies and everything leading up to this, just felt like it had too much exposition, and I felt like the movie could have cut all that down a good amount in the first act. And it wasn't until we got to the later half of the film where I felt like we are now getting somewhere. This is where the action starts to ramp up, and this film has some of the most inventive, most high stakes action in the entire franchise, in my opinion. There's this really cool submarine scene that has so much tension, claustrophobia, submersive phobia, like all the kinds of phobias out there that people have when it comes to underwater and submarines, that it actually got me nerve-wracked. All the stunts here are great. Tom Cruise is fantastic as Ethan Hunt once again. All of our side characters are great again, and what they're trying to do for Ethan Hunt, trying to accomplish this mission, how it feels like any of these characters can die at some point, especially with the way things kick off with Ving Rhames' character and what he means for the entire story. Despite his limited screen time, it felt like the movie did a great job of making you feel like any of these characters can die, and that this is in fact the final mission. We're now trying to end things off, trying to stop our villains from accomplishing their goals, and we're almost there with beating the entity. We saw how much of a threat it was in the previous film, and now we're at the end game here in this final act, and it was great. This plane scene that we keep seeing in the trailers, in the posters, just top tier action. The way it's filmed, the way it's choreographed, the way Tom Cruise does his own stunts here, like the insane things that happened in this film. Knowing that all this was done practically and for real just made the action feel so visceral. And because you're there for the action, and that's what the film all revolves around, the later like 2 acts become very engaging to watch now, and the dialogue is once again snarky, the characters are engaging, just the way things are able to close out I felt like was done really well. Not everyone gets the true happy ending they want, but I feel like now that they have gotten a sense of closure, that they're now able to finally feel at peace with themselves, that everything is going to be alright, that there might be more action coming in the future, there might be another bad guy, but now it felt like they have genuinely have saved the world, and that they're able to walk off to the distance knowing that they'll have each other's backs no matter what, and that things will still work out no matter what. Just I felt like the ending, the way it ended things off with our characters, felt just right, and it felt like this is how things should have played out. Again, this is not a perfect movie. The first act had a lot of pacing issues and focused too much on dialogue and exposition, but once you get past that and appreciate the filmmaking later on, the direction, the characters, the performances, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, technically, I mean it's called The Final Reckoning, we'll just go with that, was a really good finale in my opinion, and a really good send-off for the character of Ethan Hunt. I just wish it could have been like a truly great film like Fallout or Part 1 of Dead Reckoning, or even Rogue Nation. As of now, it's my least favorite of the Christopher McQuarrie films. I don't think that is going to change due to all that exposition, but all in all, I had a fantastic time with The Final Reckoning of Mission Impossible. I'm going to give Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.